Hi, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. Today I'm super excited to be exploring the Cutter. Okay, take two. Hi, welcome to Sharon from Vivid Days. If it's the first time you've joined my channel, I hope you enjoy. Please do remember to click on the little triangle at the top right hand side underneath the video if you want any specific information about the ingredients that I've used. But other than that, welcome. And if you've been with my channel before, you'll know that I'm super excited to be working with the Colour Cottage pigments that I've recently received from America. So I'm super pumped. And today I'm going to be practicing with these four colours: the Colour Cottage Sapphire Blue, the Colour Cottage Totally Teal, Seaside Blue, and Heavenly Blue. And I'm going to be using the Casting Craft Opaque for my foam. So I'm going to be working over a board that I've previously used and don't like. So all I've done so far is blank that out with acrylic a few days ago, and that's ultramarine blue and cyan, and just done that to give some depth at the bottom. And I'm going to see if I can just replicate not replicate, but I want two images side by side. I'm going to be using these four blues and the white and see if it gives you a feeling of the ocean without it being a full-on ocean scene. And I just want to see, do these sparkle and glisten? Do these colours work well for the ocean for me? Or could I use these amazing colours for different projects? So I'm going to open them all up so you get to see a little bit more of the colour. So here we go with the lids off, so we've got a little bit more look. So if we look at the sapphire blue, it's very, very rich and very shimmery. Has a feel of the ultramarine blue in there, but also at the same time it's got its own unique tones coming through, and that's what it looks like on the lid. As I move over to the Totally Teal, it's almost like the peacock green that I work with, so I'll be interested to go back and utilise that for one of those little projects. But I do like to add that little bit of brood green mixed through into my oceans. And there's the lid, so you can see the colour. This one looks very similar. This is the Seaside Blue, but if you remember when I worked with Pebeo, I've got one that's a blue-green and one that's a green-blue that look very similar, but for transparencies they normally have a different undertone. So to me this one's got the blue undertone and this one's got the green undertone. And then we have the Heavenly Blue. Oh, I picked Heavenly Blue instead of my Seaside. No, that is the Seaside Blue, Sharon. Concentrate. Okay, so I have Heavenly Blue here, so it's like a sky blue to me, but they, again, should add some nice tones to the ocean. Look, beautiful shimmer. I don't know if the camera's picking it up on all of them. And here are the lids. So let's get on with this. So today the resin I will be using is Amazing Clear Cast. That is 1:1 measurement. I have made sure that my boards are all leveled. I've got my cups all ready, my silicone cups that I use and reuse again. They've all just been wiped down with alcohol wipes to make sure there's no dust. And I've tried spraying my art room with water before I start, just to try and remove any potential dust particles. I've got my heat gun and blowtorch ready for the go. So we're going to have some fun and hopefully you'll enjoy this with me. So if you're new to resin, what you need to be aware of is following the instructions, being in a well-ventilated area, wearing a mask, gloves, and where possible trying to use things that are better for the environment that you can use over and over again. So I'm using this glass jug and I have some tongue depressors, but they are plastic, but I can use these over and over and over again, reducing my imprint in the art world. Cool, so my timer is saying it's done, so what I am going to do is spread out my resin into my silicone cups, and then I'll show you how much Colour Cottage pigments I'm going to be adding. It's the first time I've worked with them, so not too sure how super absorbent they're going to be, or should I say how much colour intense they will be. So the normal rule of thumb is 10% colour to resin, but sometimes you have to add, you could add less or more depending on the tone that you wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. And then I'll probably come back and put a bit of clear on, but I do want to use that for some of the... Sorry, I'll try and hold it the other way so you can see what it is I'm doing. So I'm not going to need so much for the white because that's going to be the foam. And what I have personally discovered is a little bit of this goes a long way when you're dealing with casting craft. So I am now going to come over and I want quite a bit of the sapphire blue because that's the darker colour, because I have 3 shades of the lighter one. So I'll come back and I'll split it up how I think and then come and add more. So just mindful I've got 3 lighter ones, so need to proportion that correctly. May not need so much of that because there's 3 similar colours, so definitely want more of that sapphire blue. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the foam because there is 2 boards, and with this one it's going to be, in my mind's eye, it is going to really close up to the crashing water. I think that will do for that, so I feel fairly comfortable with that. So I'm going to use the rest of this for on the board, so I just need to clear some of these stuff away. My precious Colour Cottage. Okay, some clear resin there, but I'm going to put some on here. I'm not really wanting to put a full layer of clear on, so I'm just going to leave that, what's left in the jug, in case I want to come back and just add some less. I'll tip it to one side because the resin will just self-level. I'm gonna make sure you always wear a mask when you are dealing with powder pigments. They are super fine. Make sure you do follow the instructions from the manufacturer, and it can float around and you just don't want to inhale it. So here we go with this beautiful sapphire blue. That one's going to go in the big container here. So I'm going to go with this, and then I'm going to see if that is going to be enough. Maybe just a splash more. And I'm going to close this lid because I want to stop anything getting in there and dust particles, but also I want to stop the pigment. So I'm just going to gently massage this into the resin, one to try and stop the particles dispersing in dust, and you don't want to lose any of this colour, but also just to make sure that it is all going to mix in beautifully. Now that is coming up very, very colourful. It's blending in beautifully, and the tones that are coming through from that blue, it's just stunning. Yeah, just making sure that's all mixed in. So I will just let that one sit a little while, and sometimes it's good to let your resin sit because that helps remove some of the bubbles that's in there. Just give it a little bang down. And now I'm going to make sure I have sufficient amount of the heavenly blue, because that's going to balance out the dark blue. So the amount looked about right, but I have got less in this pot here. So I'm going to go with about that much and see how I feel about that. Pop it in, put my lid on to protect my precious pigments, and then give it a little stir and check that I'm happy. Oh, see, that just splashed. That was the powders as you start. Churn it through. So, oh wow. So they're just so pearlescent. It's just stunning, look at that. So it might be a little bit transparent, so I might need to add some more, but I'm just going to double check that, just working it through, making sure it's all the way. It's quite transparent, so I'm just going to add a tiny little bit more of that. Transparent might be good though. It might go all the way down to the bottom and you let the colours bounce back through. So just add in that little bit more, but I'll put that out of the way now because I can't use that. until I've given it a clean with an alcohol wipe. And gently stir it in until you know all the powder is in the resin. Then you can speed it up a little bit more and make sure it is all mixed in. You just want to get right down to the bottom, scrape around the edges and work that through. Okay, now that's much better, happier. Colours sort of stayed the same, but when you do that, it's less transparent. Then I'm going to add my Seaside Blue. So I've learnt from the one before, so I'm going to add just slightly more. So I'm going to add about this amount. Let's see how that works for us. Slowly starting to mix it. You might not see it on camera, but there's a big puff of the fine pigments go out. That's not, it is lovely. That is definitely like the colour that I used to use, or do still use, from SFX, which is the peacock green. So this one just goes so beautiful with bronzes and browns, and it's just stunning. I think that's one of my favourite colours, the peacock green. It's an old reliable one that you can use multiple times for like different projects, but definitely works beautiful with bronzers. That should add a nice shimmer as well for the ocean. Last but not least is the Totally Teal. So I'm hoping that I'm not going to have it's not going to be too similar, but the good thing is I could add a little bit of blue to it to alter it. So add that much. Seal my containers, and this is another beautiful thing I found with the Colour Cottage ones so far, is that they're screw-on lids, which means it's less hassle and less likely to not come away, because even though we can work with best intentions with being clean with resin, it can get quite sticky and you can end up sealing things or causing them. And I do love the fact that you can see the colours through them, and they're quite a nice one to hold as far as for the twisting motion when you've got the gloves on. So it's a thumbs up so far. So that's a very similar colour to this, but you might or might not be able to say this one's got the green undertones, that one's got the blue ones. So for me, this one would come after the dark blue, then I blend the light blue through and down into the light green undertones, and hopefully that should create a feeling of movement in the ocean. However, normally I use these when they're more to the shoreline, and for this one there's going to be no shoreline, it's just going to be blues and white, so waves crashing. So I'm digressing, but we are good to go. Last but not least is the Casting Craft, and you really don't need a lot of this at all. Spray it in, it absorbs really well into the resin, and it just creates some spectacular effects for you. So look, not a lot, it's totally solid colour, and yeah, I would recommend anybody that's dealing with or wants to create any kind of webbing or nice foam to oceans, it's definitely something that you should look up. Alright, so let's start mixing one last time, and I am going to scrape off any bits of resin and just pour it here. I'm working on two at the same time, so I'm hoping that I can pat my head and rub my tummy all at the same time. Definitely trying to keep these here. Now there is more darker blue than the light ones, if you remember, because there's 3 of those to one of these. Make sure you get every last bit of that out, but if there's some left in your pot, don't worry, because you can come back and you can use that for if you just need to touch up anything. So all I'm going to do at the moment is just spread this out. Just want to make sure it's going to cover the ends and the area I want without working it too much. Resin is self-leveling, but you do need to help it sometimes go to certain areas, especially because this one's had an underpainting of acrylic on there. This is where I think Monica normally gets her hands in. Monica Barnes Art, that is. If you haven't checked out her channel, have a little look. She's amazing when it comes to depth and colour, and a heat gun and torch. Hi Monica! I also want to do a little shout out to Angela's studio. If you've not had a little look at her, go and give her some support. She's perseverant. She puts so much into her art, and she is a trooper, always out there and sharing her heart, and she's got a beautiful soul, and she's just recently gone through a tragic time with losing her mum. So just shout out, give some support. If you've not seen her, go out there and have a little look at her channel and give her some support. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my darker green now. This is a canvas board, so you do sometimes need to make sure you've got cardboard underneath so it doesn't sag, but I'm hoping, because I have worked on this one a while, it's had one layer of resin of something that I didn't like, and I've also gone back and added acrylic paint to it. I'm hoping that the weight in the middle is going to be solid enough to be able to take it without it sagging too much. Try and break up the two greens, so I'm coming in now with the lighter blue. I'm just hoping that this is not going to be too bright. And I think what I will do is bring, like when I'm blowing on my heat gun, I'll blow the foam back this way. Okay, so definitely lots of bubbles in here. I'm going to enjoy popping those soon, but at the minute I am just focusing on my colour blocks and where they're going to be. I promise as well, I've got myself a new blowtorch because I keep sticking them because I don't have the discipline of taking my gloves off or working them with a baby wipe before I touch my gun, because I'm just get so into the art and lost into it that I keep sticking them. And I've promised my partner Neil that I will not ruin this next heat gun, and I will take my gloves off when it's time to use them. So if you see me not doing that, let me know. Doing all these things to, I don't know. Okay. Last but not least is another shade of green. So maybe I should have gone more with a blue, some more of the dark blue here, but we shall see. If anything though, it's still going to be beautiful toned. Even though I'm working with the same colour schemes, I've worked with the different, they are different colours. So it might tell me it wants to be something else, and I think that's the joys of resin. So I've decided I'm going to use my fingers for this one. Monica, you'll be proud. So I might find that I will need to have a different coat on this, because this is good because this is transparent. So that's what's like for the Pebeo one that I like with the oceans. So you are going to get the different colours coming through. But it won't forgive any sins you've got with, if you've not done the underpainting. If you're creating the ocean feel, that is. So I'm just going to slowly do that. What I am then going to do is blowtorch it, and then add the foam. So just doing that just to create that little bit of movement and colour through. And as promised my partner, I am going to deglove, use my blowtorch. Alright, so in my head I need a line down here. I see a wave coming here, and across to here, because they could be sold separately or they could be hung together. So just drawing where I see those, kind of here as well. Be interesting to see how casting oh gosh, the casting craft, how it responds to the Colour Cottage pigments. I know that there's going to be quite a bit of foam there, so I just want to make sure I've got it where I want, because I found that if I do it the first time, if I get it right, it makes it easier as I get the heat gun. Because then if you get any special effects, you're not ruining it, but work in motion. Alright, let me just give my hands a wipe, and then I am going to come back in. So my hands are being cleaned, and now here we come with the heat gun. Okay, so love that, but I just need to keep moving because I found a few little craters. Come, get rid of that, move my hands through, add a bit more foam, and then I'm super happy. Okay, let me do the edges, and then I'll come in for another blowtorch, and then I'll give you a look, because I'm super impressed with this. Alright, so I now need to just check that the resin is totally to the end, which I know I can see it's fallen off, so I just need to help it a little bit. Then I'm going to bring it up for a close-up. Okay, so I've just finished working on this piece and it's super wet, but I wanted to show you where it is. Loving the pigments that is the Colour Cottage. And remember, I used sapphire blue, totally teal, heavenly blue, and seaside blue. So I'm going to start with the one on the left, and we'll come from top down, because it is just two pieces, but two thin pieces. So to the top, love the dark blue, and some of the colours underneath have coming through. Love the lacing that I've got from the casting craft and the movement, and I'm really loving how those colours blended together. And I was a bit worried that there was too much green in there, but it's actually worked okay. Probably would have liked to have had a little bit more of the darker blue down, but that's not the colour pigment issue. That's me and just my proportion and distribution of colour. But over onto the right hand one now. Beautiful lacing. Looks like those waves are really crashing and there's a swell, should I say? Not swell. And again, these colours have blended together, so I just need to keep my eye on it a little bit. Go over it with a blowtorch again, just to make sure all the bubbles have popped, and put this to sleep. So remember, if you like my work, thumbs up, subscribe and share. Take a little look on the links below, which if you tap that little triangle just underneath my video, all the descriptions will be there, and the Colour Cottage colours that I've used will be there as well. And remember, every time you click on a link that goes to Amazon, it doesn't cost you anymore, but a small proportion of that does go to me to help me with my supplies and keep my channel going, and also with the adverts. I know that they can be a little bit annoying with you, but if you just watch 5-10 seconds of those adverts, a small proportion of that money goes towards me buying my materials and keeping this channel. So have the most amazing day, and remember, if you do like my work, contact me if you're interested in buying a piece or a custom piece. Thank you.